The Strain Season 2, Episode 12, Fallen Light. Didn't remember that this was going to end up being the episode before the season finale. I'm pretty sure they mentioned that in the last episode, or at least, for the trailers. But I completely forgot until I saw the trailer for the next episode, which is going to be our season finale, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm excited to see what they pull off in this finale and just how crazy things are going to get, especially with some of the, last couple of scenes, some of the ideas that were kind of thrown out there. But I enjoyed this episode a lot. It seemed like they did some things that were very unique to the show, which one of them was doing the flashbacks on more peaceful times. It was just a natural meeting of two characters, and it's F and Nora when they first meet, and how that relationship has grown into what it is today, and seemingly how it's coming to an end with the way that they ended this episode. And it starts off, and it was really cool to get Sean Astin back. I don't remember his character's name, but it was cool to have him come back in, and of course, he brings in some of the comedy. We get to see them as a trio again, which was very nice. I enjoyed that, especially at the end. We got to see them after they become, friends with Nora officially, and it was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. F and Sean had their conversation when they're talking about like why F hired Nora on. And it's like, oh, you noticed that she's attractive and all that stuff. So I enjoyed that. It was pretty funny. And then the ending when he realizes like, F, you deserve to be happy, and if she makes you happy, then I say go for it. And I'm assuming that was before he actually knew that Kelly was divorcing him, because it was like the day before, and F mentions it to Nora. But we see their first kiss. We see that they've had this connection for a long time, of course, but they didn't do anything until it was like official. Like once he knew he was getting divorced from his wife, that's when they ended up kissing and kind of ending up together. So it was interesting to watch that relationship. Obviously it was just the beginning and the end. So it was like, here's 2005, here's 2013. So we didn't see a bunch of the history, but we got enough. We got their introduction to each other for the first time and their first kiss. And with the way they did the final scene of her sort of just in the bed crying, which seemingly came out of nowhere, I think her plan is to actually leave F when they go to DC, because he was saying all these nice things. He was pretty much just saying like, I know I haven't said it in a while, but I love you. I'm glad you're here, all that type of stuff. And she went and cried, and I think it was because the parallel for the flashback is that when he was being left by Kelly, in the present he's being left by Nora, and he doesn't have someone else. He's just actually going to be alone. He's not even going to have his son, because he's taking his son to his grandparents so that Zack can be safe, or at least he's going to try to, because of course season finale, who knows. But it's interesting. Like I don't think they're going to end up going anyway, but we might get confirmation that really was her plan, and that's why she was freaking out at the end, because of course she doesn't just want to say like, I'm leaving you, and because this is just crazy. But I can't think of any other reason why she would have kind of cried after that scene, unless it involves her feeling like she might actually lose F because of just all the insanity going on. But you think that would have happened a long time ago. So I feel like that's her plan at this point, where she wants to go because when they get there, she'll know that Zack is safe, and F will be fine with that. She'll be able to say like, I'm not going back. I'm staying here because it, at this point, I guess it might just be too much for her. It's going to an insane extreme, and she doesn't want to deal with that anymore. So, of course, that's just my theory why she was doing that. I don't really know what else it could have been that, it wasn't, so sappy it will make you cry. So it certainly wasn't that. Like, he said he loved me and she broke down in tears. It certainly wasn't that. So I think right now that was her plan. That's why she added herself onto the plan, like getting 3 tickets to go to DC. So I don't know 100%. Like I said, of course, it's just my random theory based on what I was seeing with the flashbacks and just her breaking down, out of nowhere. It just seemed like that's what it was to me. So hopefully that's not the case. But at the same time, with the finale coming up, they may do that where someone dies. Like, I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen. I always hope that where they don't kill someone off. But it's the finale. It's if there's ever a time, it is of course always the finale, or like mid-season finale to kill somebody off. And we past the mid-season because they don't really do that for summer shows. But the finale, anything can happen. Who knows? I'm hoping it doesn't, but that's just in my head because that's always sort of the thing. Like the character was about to get out, and then they got killed, and then they reveal that they were gonna leave, which kind of breaks down the main character because it's like, crap, you were gonna leave me anyway. That's kind of a sucky thing to find out too. But we'll see what happens in the next episode. But I did enjoy the flashbacks. I enjoyed seeing the beginning of this relationship in two different aspects: their actual first encounter, as well as them kissing for the first time. So I definitely enjoyed that aspect of this episode. The other thing that I really loved in this episode was Gus and Angel and them going to the police station and getting all the guys out. Favorite scene of that was after they did all of that, and the guy that Gus does like this super crazy handshake. I didn't even catch all that. I thought they just did like that for a second, and then it's like their fingers were like twisted and they're making like spider webs and stuff, and it just ended with like a pinky hook. I was like, what in the world just happened there? So he gets all these people out who apparently were only locked up for a couple days. I don't know. I was trying to figure that out. I'm like, how in the world are any of these guys alive after just being locked up? But the cop does mention he'd been in there for like 3 or 4 days. And so the prison was just recently attacked. Everyone was locked up. The Strigoi couldn't get past like the security gates and all that stuff. So we have a cop who's just stuck in a cell. We have all these guys. They give him guns and machetes and stuff. And they go through. They kill the cop after he gets out because the cop used to just beat him. So that kind of made sense. I was like, well, that's not surprising. And then we see the guy who was in the preview for this episode getting killed. I was like, oh, that's the guy that gets eaten. So he kills the cop. He gets eaten. Then it's like guns blazing. They got to get the heck out of there. And it's always like there's always just one guy who's like, I make the rules and this and that. Stuff in vampires, you don't even know what's going on. You've been in prison and you want to come in and just start making rules and shoot me. I helped you get out of prison and you just want to shoot me because you don't want to follow some rules to live and like save everybody because you're just a prick. And then he points a gun at Gus, and apparently Angel don't play that crap, and he just shoots him in the stomach with a shotgun. And I was like, that was the coolest thing ever. That was, like, they were already a team, but as soon as Angel did that, and there was, like, no discussion, he's like, this guy's about to shoot Gus, I gotta shoot him first. Takes him down. I was like, they are officially, like, bonded now. Like, he saved his life without words. It was just, boom, he's dead now, who's next? And it's like, alright, everyone get on the bus. So I love that scene because it was Angel really stepping up for Gus, and there was, like, no need to talk about it or anything. He made his decision 2 episodes ago, like, I'm going to help this guy. And he really showed that it's them two together. Like, first and foremost, it's Gus and Angel as a team. And everyone else is there to help. But if there's any sign of rebellion or sheer stupidity, Angel is going to put that crap down if it's going to cost him either his life or Gus's life. So I love that scene. And it was just like, it just said a lot about their relationship in that moment. Because, like I said, we knew they were a team. But that was just like, nope, there's no need to talk about this. Boom, he's dead, he's gone. Forget it, let's get on the bus and get out of here. So, I love that scene. It's going to be interesting to see how they use these guys that they got from the prison as fighters against the Strigoi. Because they're going to need some training. They need some serious training. They can't just run around with handguns and machetes and be 100% fine. The handgun thing, it's easy enough, but once it gets to close quarters, it could be a little bit deadlier for those guys. So we'll see how everything plays out. We'll see how that works with this new team and who ends up becoming important. I'm very curious about whether or not any characters will end up becoming important from this just big group of prisoners, or if they're all just going to be like cannon fodder and no one ends up living. It's like, well, we saved all these guys, but it ends up being just Gus and Angel again by the very end. Like, all the other prisoners get killed off, and Gus and Angel are still the only two really left alive. It's like, oh, well, that sucks for everybody else. But I'm curious. I think some of those characters in season 3 are going to end up becoming fairly important. They might have actual backstories. It seemed like the only guy that did was the first guy, but maybe there are other characters that have backstories with Gus and at least know him somewhat, and we'll get to see those characters kind of grow in status for the show. But for now, they're just random prisoners, dozens of machetes and stuff. I don't know how they carried all that stuff in there back and forth before they let them out. Or maybe, I guess they all went in and out. I don't know. But they carried a bunch of guns and machetes in there to give to the prisoners. But I enjoyed that scene. It was a nice scene. He's, got his little army. He went back to the Bourne. I wish I could remember his name. I think they said it. I think it's Quinlan or something like that. He went back to him at the end. And the Lumen is really in play now. The Lumen is in full-on auction mode. The next episode is going to be Palmer. Well, it's actually going to be Eichhorst because he's the one who gets to go. So it's going to be Eichhorst and Satrakian, and most likely Fed is going to be there for sure. So it's going to be these guys all together. I don't know how that's going to work with them even remotely seeing Eichhorst there just to begin with. That'll probably screw up with Satrakian, and he's just going to want to chop his head off. And I can only assume that if Eichhorst is going, it's not really going to be the bid. It's going to be like, alright, let's see how this place looks, and we can get in right there, and then here come a bunch of Strigoi to eat everybody. I feel like that's how that situation's really going to go, and that's what the plan is. But it's going to be in full play. Eichhorst is going to go for it. He has the backing of Palmer after he threatens him and kind of reveals the fact that the little bit of the white, as they call it, isn't permanent. The effects don't last forever. Palmer is not just going to be up and walking around forever. And apparently he needs some soon, which makes sense actually because that happened early on in season 1. And so we're at the end of season 2. So it has been quite a while since he actually got that one little drop. And he was on death's doorstep. So that really made a difference for him. And for Coco, I would assume it's going to be the same thing, I guess. But probably not for her. I think in her case, it was just, oh, you were shot and now you're healed. For him, it was like, basically, it's like having cancer. Like, it was really just slowed down or stopped for a certain amount of time. And he needs more in order to actually live. So, that was an interesting concept where he was kind of put in his place. Like, oh, you thought it was permanent. No, if you don't get more, you're going to die soon. You'll wither away and die. And I love the kind of the way they did things where they have Coco, now that she knows it's Coco and Palmer. They are a true team, and she's going to try to help him survive, and she's going to try to help him see what's going on. And she's like, he's playing you. And they're in the same mindset. He's like, of course he is, but there's more to come. And that was just a cool scene to me. It's like the two of them are officially a team now. It's not just Palmer by himself dealing with Eichhorst and the Master. He has someone by his side. They're still both human, and they, Eichhorst could just come in and do a backhand and their heads will pop off. But at this point, they're still a powerful team. They have the resources. They have what the Master technically needs in order to spread throughout the city even further and then to the rest of the country. So I don't know what plans Palmer really has, but now he has someone, backing him up. And I love that. I like that idea to see them as, they're like on this side of the villains, of course, but they are a team within themselves. And who knows how things are going to play out. It should be very interesting. And even in this episode, Palmer has an opportunity to at least attempt to get another pawn. I don't think, I believe her name's Justine if I'm remembering right. I don't believe she'll end up being a pawn in, this whole crazy game. But he does get the opportunity to kind of back her and have a new supporter who's much better than the mayor, as he put it, who was killed by somebody. I don't know if Palmer did that. It wasn't Kowalski. He didn't have anyone do it either, and it wasn't Justine. I don't know if it was the Master. Like, it's very interesting. I don't know if we'll get an answer to that. I'm sure we will, because it's going to be the finale, and it's just a big question that could easily be answered. Who did that? But I don't think Palmer would go so far as to just kill off the mayor. Like, he already had him enough. It wasn't like he was starting to change or anything like that. He was kind of a dick, but he worked with Palmer. He got money from Palmer. Palmer had a little bit of pull with him. So they already had a good enough relationship. So it's like, who killed him is fairly important. Like, why did they do it? Was it really the master that did that just so that they could move things along? But if that was the case, and I guess that could still be the case, so that they could put Justine in this high position and then, have her under control. So that could have been the case, but we still don't know. I hate that he's doing that today. So my dad out there doing the lawn, like, worst day to do reviews. But I have to because I'm leaving again out of town. So now that she's in this position of power, it should be interesting watching her deal with a lot of adversity, like even more so now, because she already had to deal with the stuff from the last episode with people wanting to indict her and get her off the board and like strip her pretty much of all of her power despite what she's done, because she wanted to tax like the super freaking rich people, lose their minds. Let's get her out of here. So to see her have to deal with even more adversity, like being basically promoted to head of security for the entire island, I don't know what that's going to do for her. Like, I don't know if she's going to end up dealing with other people that don't want her to have this power. The master, of course, wants Palmer to kind of take care of her and coax her in a certain direction so she doesn't have too much power and she's not too strong. But she does have, of course, the heroes. She has our heroes. She has F and Nora saying, like, hey, if we can get, some passes, go to DC, we'll pick up the agent, we'll come back, we'll wipe this whole thing out. She's in a great position, but it's an incredibly dangerous position because now she has the stuff with Palmer, but she knows that there is a cure on its way. So I'm really excited to see how things work out with her. I still love her character. She's super awesome. Her and Kowalski are just like a really cool team. I love when he was about to cuss out the mayor. It was just like, they're same mindset, but he's the one who can say it because he's not the one who's gonna really get fired, and he's just like, "Are you kidding me, you son of a bitch?" So I love that scene. It was just really funny, and they just make a cool team. Like, I just love, she like asks him for advice. He supports her and stuff, and it's like he'll think things through, she'll think things through, and they just work well as a team. I love their dynamic because he supports her no matter what decision. And like the scene when they have the fight, when he was helping her because she was freaking out, she had like a moment where she was kind of breaking down, like, I set these people up to die. He backed her up like 110%. Like, you need to stand strong because you are the one who's at the top of this and everybody needs you because otherwise we're all gonna die. So I just love the dynamic that they have. They don't say much. It's not like a huge conversation type relationship from the scenes that we actually have with the characters. But it is really amazing. So I just love the dynamic. I'm excited to see where they take these characters, especially with the season finale coming up. They're going to be involved in some crazy stuff, and I want to see how these two characters kind of make it through into season 3, because I really love what they bring to the story. They're trying to clear out the whole city and do something really important and save everybody, and now they're connected with our main characters, and they have support from the side that has some of the answers, and the silver and everything, giving them ideas for certain weapons and the UV lights. So I'm excited to see how they transition past this finale into season 3 and how their character arcs advance and based on the next episode. So they had some really good moments. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, the mayor being killed off, don't know who did it, but I'm sure we'll get the answer in the next episode, and we'll get the exact reason why. But it's definitely changed a lot, and she's going to deal with a lot of political stuff now, which, once again, she already was because of the whole taxing the rich thing. Now she's in this new position that has a lot of people split. I think it wasn't 100% for sure. I think it was like, I think they said it was somewhere in the 50s, but she won by that much. It was like 54% majority or something. So there's still a lot of people. I mean, they can't do anything about it. They'll just be mad, like, whatever. But she still has those people that don't really want her there. So she's gonna deal with a lot of different crazy stuff. She's already got freaking vampires in the city. Now she has to deal with stupid politics. So I'm excited to see how she transitions into season 3 as another really big character for the series. But I love that storyline. Like I said, the Gus and Angel stuff was really cool, and then Satrakian and Dutch going after, or Satrakian and Fett going after the Lumen and finding it, and then it's like, okay, we have the Lumen, we found it officially, and now we're gonna have to place bets on it and get gold. So they go to the Born and they have this idea like, all right, you guys back us up. I'll get the Lumen. I'll read through it. Once I'm done with my research, I'll hand it over to you guys. And of course, the Born agrees, but he doesn't believe that that's going to take place. So he wants Gus to basically kill Satrakian and take the Lumen, if he has to, of course. And I'm sure it would come to that with Satrakian. Like, he's not going to be like, you have some good points, Gus, and, hand over the Lumen. It's going to be a battle. And with it being the season finale, who knows if they even get to that point because of, like I said, with Ichor's, he's probably just going to look at the area. They have a hive mind, so all he has to do is look around and say, this is unsafe or, unsecure. And then the Strigoi just come right in, and it's as simple as that. And even in the trailer, there's a scene with Ichor's just standing, and there's just a bunch of Strigoi running past him. And that looks like it takes place at night, so I don't know if that's actually on the island, in the church and stuff where they're going to be doing the auction, but it's somewhere, and he's attacking somebody, and there's a giant army, so it seems like it just fits in line. Maybe he chases down Satrakian because he and Fett do end up stealing it, stealing the Lumen, but who knows? Like, it's an interesting little triangle now because we have our obvious sides of heroes, which is Satrakian and, the rest of our main cast, and then we have Gus and the Masters, the other Masters, and the Born, and they don't know, they don't really trust Satrakian. Like, he's human, he can use it to wipe out all of the Strigoi, which kind of makes sense, but they're both on the side of good, but they're not on the same side. So it's just interesting to watch this become sort of a triangle rather than it just being a two-sided conflict, good versus evil. Now it's a bit of a triangle. We have our main enemy who's the Master, which everyone wants to take out the Master, but then you have, our other two sides, like both on the side of good, but good human and then good Strigoi, not exactly the same thing. So I like the dynamic of it becoming sort of a three-way war for the Lumen, where it's like, as long as it's out of the Master's hands, great, but that still leaves two sides fighting against each other, both being good because they want to stop the outbreak, but one side still being the Masters who want to live and really, I guess, feed on humans for eternity. I don't know, like, that what their plan really is, but excuse me, that kind of just seems to be how it is right now. So I'm excited for the finale. This was a good episode. Also, some really crazy stuff with Dutch. When she left Fett in the beginning, that was kind of messed up. She's like, I was gonna write you a note, and he's all excited and stuff, like, oh, it's a good thing I'm here. And as soon as he said that, I was just thinking, like, is it? And she's there, she's like, you saved my life, and I don't know how to say that I'm gonna leave the person that saved my life. And he's like, you're a good person, and she's freaking out, like, am I? Because I'm leaving you, man. Like, you saved my life. I'm definitely leaving you, and I'm choosing this other woman. And that was just an interesting scene. I really liked that scene. I thought it was well done. And then she gets her heart broken because the girl takes off. She's like, I'm leaving. Like, I'm going where it's safe, and I'm taking off. It's a lot of people leaving each other in this episode now that I think about it. It's like the stuff with Kelly and the flashbacks. My theory of Nora leaving F, like, I don't know. I mean, she broke down crying after he said, like, I love you and stuff like that, and she got the extra ticket, saying she's gonna add herself on, but I don't know. So just a lot of people leaving other people, and now Dutch has been left, Fed has been left. I don't know if their relationship's gonna work. I mean, she chose to be with this woman over Fed, and he knows that. and she can't just go back like, well, she left me. She took off to be safer somewhere else in the city or in another state. I mean, so why don't we make things work? It's not gonna play out like that. It could. I mean, Dutch is really like the silly character. He might just be like, hey, it happens, it happens. But I don't think it will. I think when it comes to Dutch, and I said Dutch again, but with Fett, when it comes to Dutch, it tends to be fairly serious about their relationship. So I don't think it's just gonna work out that way where it's really simple. But one episode, there's a lot of different things to kind of put out there. Kelly's gonna be back in it, going after Zack. It kind of seemed like Zack was in the tunnels that led to Icor's apartment room. And the like little snippet that he had like a little knife on him, but it seemed like that's where he was, like in the subway tunnels or something. So I'm not sure how the character's gonna end up where they are, but it's the season finale. I'm really excited for it. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode, though. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and of course, I have to ask what you guys are expecting for this season finale. We've had a lot of good moments this season. I really loved this season overall. I think it was much better than season one. I enjoyed season one, but this one just really kicked it up. Like the flashbacks were just really great. We have lots of those in this season, which were all well done. We have, this sort of holy grail type object with the Lumen, which came in fairly recently, but we had that. We had the stuff with F going to DC and just the sheer insanity that trip took. Like, he killed a guy on the train. One of his oldest friends got killed. The woman that he was with got killed. He killed an assassin. So there's just a bunch of death and just craziness that went on there. And he tried to kill Palmer, and then that changed the relationship between Palmer and Coco. Now that she's involved, so we've had a lot of chain reaction stuff take off in this season, which has all been pretty amazing. So leading up to a crazy finale, I'm assuming the good guys are gonna at least make it out even. They might just break even, but I don't know if they're gonna get one step ahead, if they're gonna actually get the Lumen or what. But it's gonna go into somebody's hands by the end of this season, and I don't know. Like, I don't even know what side I choose. I would probably stick with Satrakian because, admittedly, it's the Strigoi. They're kind of feeding on people and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, you can be good, but technically, in order for the Strigoi to survive, they do have to feed on people. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, that's not exactly by choice. Maybe if they only did that to criminals, I'd be okay with it. But they aren't. It's whoever we can get. Just bring them on in. We're gonna siphon this guy off, and then boom, we'll fold up like typical generic vampires and do the pose and everything. But I'm excited for the season finale. Like I said, I want to know what you guys thought. So please comment below. Let me know. And thanks for watching.